Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud, and this is the episode 6 of Champs versus Stars, Flagpoles, and False Hopes. This is going to be a different sort of a podcast, review, recap, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to go about this from slowest to best in terms of the performances between the champs and the stars. And this will be the flagpole mission, then jumping into the water, or climbing the pole, grabbing flags, swimming, and then I'll just talk about like what they did throughout the episode. So thus, we're going to start with the stars. Ariane, slowest person of the stars. 40 seconds. She did get 2 seconds taken off. I think she got like 2 white, I wrote down cards, but I think they're flags. But they're 2 white flags. Second each, obviously. And, hey, she's the slowest person of the stars. Fucking Kim is kind of like, what does she say? She's like, she's pretty, but what does she do? What does she do? And, Ariane will continue to be kind of shat upon in a sense because Anissa's like, if I were to lose to her, because Ariane's going to be one of the biggest nominees for elimination this episode, her name was just being called out so many times. But Anissa's like, I don't want to lose to her because that would be so goddamn embarrassing. And that, if anyone says that about you, that's embarrassing. You're like, hey, fuck you, man. Like what was Ariane? A wrestler, right? Ex-wrestler or a wannabe wrestler, something like that. I know she was on, I think my what do you want to call him? Co-host. I was drawing a blank. I wanted to say ex-co-host. Thank you very much. No, he's just not here this week. But he said that she was on Tough Enough, which I guess is like a reality show where people compete to get a contract with the WWE. And I believe Mike the Miz was a host of that show as well. So that's going to be interesting, being back in a series. And I believe she's no longer with WWE. I think, if Dave is to be believed, that he'll show up on every episode of the podcast. But if he were to be believed about his wrestling prowess, I mean, like what he thinks about wrestling, what he knows, I think she's no longer with them. But still, anyways, the disrespect. But she's first on the list because she's the slowest of the stars. Let's get down to... did I say she had 40 seconds? Yeah, she had 40 seconds. Michelle and Kim actually tie for second to last with 30 seconds each. They both got 4 seconds taken off their original run. And I believe, they both had, the 4 seconds each. So they're really tied together. And that's crazy because, like one's extremely tall and athletic and one's extremely short and athletic. They're really outshining Ariane. They're exactly tied. I thought that was awesome for some reason. I think that's pretty cool. That's hot almost. But Michelle, she's the one that's going to be put into elimination in a twist of fate. It was really between Kim and Ariane. That was the whole thing. It was a huge debacle. They're like, holy shit, we're going to finally, within the stars, they're like, there's a fucking alliance formed. And Matt, goddammit, Matt's the guy who was in the middle this entire time. And I guess, I don't know, should we be surprised that he tied the vote or whatever? But I don't know. We'll get into him when it's his turn. But in terms of Kim, she was nominated to go in. She is saved because of the tie vote. And so we go into Michelle because she's the crazy pick from the champs side. And she has to go in, and what she goes into is a tailor-made elimination. Now, some people could be like, oh my God, like clearly they want Michelle to win. Well, clearly, the theme of the episode today was strength. Although, when you think of like jumping up on a pole, trying to grab flags, and then swimming as a strength, like I think of more like exactly what they did for this elimination. So, Anissa knew what was going on. She knew that she had to pick someone, and she's like, and the theme. She had to have known. She's like, okay, if Ariane is stronger than me, that's embarrassing. So if I go in something with strength against Michelle Watterson, a UFC fighter, a fucking former Invicta flyweight champion, like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I just remember when Michelle does beat Anissa, Anissa had this demeanor about her where she was like, well, I never had the chance and this is kind of bullshit, but I'm not exactly like, throwing this huge fit about it. But you could just tell that it's bothering her, where it's like, whoa, this is literally called Cage Fighter, and I'm going against a UFC fighter. Um, I don't know. It was crazy. I'm just like, you chose her to go in a strength competition. You could have still tried to go against Kim. Like what were her options? She could have went against Justina, but is Justina intimidating? Like, I mean, she is doing good. Anyways, we're gonna get off of Michelle, but she does win. You know, I mean, good for her. Like she wins in something that she should have won in, and I don't know. I just expect people to be like, "Whoa, this fucking bullshit. Look, Anissa never had a chance." I will say this: Anissa is a very great eliminator in terms of the females. Well, no, fuck that. Just in general, she has a really good record. It might have just been broken or something, but she had like one of the best female elimination records for the longest time. And again, it might still be true. I'm just not sure. I haven't looked it up in a while. I haven't done the fucking math. Michelle wins, fucking takes her down and shit. We'll talk about it more when we get to Anissa herself. Justina is next. She's going to get 27 seconds, and she's going to go on to be the fastest female, on both sides of champs and stars. Like, that's awesome. Justina continues to impress. She's really good athletically. And I wrote this down in the notes. I was like, Justina, Cara plus personality. And I laugh because I just feel like I'm trolling people when I say like I don't like Cara Maria or whatever, just because she's like I'm sure she's got a fan base, but really I'm not trying to troll or anything. I just like I don't care for this chick, and it's weird. I think I laugh because Cara herself has no sense of humor, and she would just get so annoyed by what I just said. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's so weird. But Justina is awesome. She continues to perform, and she continues to just be high up there. Like, and she instigates alliances. Her and Michelle are a huge thing. I mean, fuck, it's crazy. Fastest girl, as I said. Let's get back to, let's see, Matt. Matt and Josh actually hold a second place with 24 seconds. I mean, really, Josh gets first, but Josh's first performance tied with Matt's first performance and only performance. I believe Matt jumped on the pole and he got the yellow flag, and everyone else, they kind of like the momentum, the weight of them being on that pole, it bends, and then you jump into the water and you go on from there. He couldn't do that, like perhaps he's so light, he's like a goddamn elf in there. And he had this great, what was the line? It was like, it's great to know that pole dancing is like a plan D or something like that. Oh, it was so funny. I'm like, oh shit, you're a comedian. I mean, it's not like I watched this season thinking like, oh my god, he's so talented, but I wish he was funny. But he's not. he's not killing me with the jokes. He's just more intriguing as like breaking up the votes, and that's exactly what he does. Breaking up the vote. He ties the vote. Yeah, it was between Kim and Ariane, and I honestly feel like Matt is purposefully being the guy to mess things up, and more camera time on him for those reasons. Like, I don't know. I'm not faulting him at all. Like, I feel like people who are coming onto this show are fans, and that's one of the better parts. Like, I forgot to mention Michelle was like, well, clearly we're going to have a purge soon. And I was like, holy shit, Michelle, you are a fan. You not only are you a fan, but you're a new fan as well. You're keeping up. And she knows that the stupid ass purge, the stupid ass bloodbath, whatever you want to call it, is now part of the stupid ass challenge. But I was like, holy shit, you knew that, Michelle. That is very impressive. Yeah. But yeah, Matt, I feel like he's just like, you know what, who cares? Like, honestly, if I'm flipping the house over, that is memorable. And you know, for me, I like it. I don't mind it at all. It's just, it seems obvious, I guess. As in saying like, hey, you guys, you know, people who were like awestruck that he would possibly tie the vote shouldn't have been shocked by it at all. You know, I feel like you guys should really understand that Matt is there to make television. All right? I mean, he's really not said anything about his charity from what I could remember. Shit, I don't remember. But whatever. He ties that vote. So when that happens, all that power goes to CT, and we'll talk about that when we get to CT. So Josh gets second place for the Stars and first place. He goes a second time, and this time he gets 22 seconds. Man, he gets the yellow card or the yellow flag, whatever. I think it's like -3 seconds, and gets fastest guy overall on both sides, Champs and Stars. So awesome for him, 22 seconds. Overall, the Stars got 3 minutes and 29 seconds. Let's get on to the Champs. Oh my god, I feel so congested. I'm sick, by the way, so I'm trying to burn through this motherfucker right here. Hold on. Oh, let me just take a drink of Robitussin. Ooh, thank you. Over-the-counter doctor. Oh shit. Okay, we're talking about the Stars. I mean, we're done talking about the Stars. We're talking about Champs. God damn it! But at the top of the list for the Champs is Tori. She has 35 seconds. She never grabbed a flag. She jumped on the pole expecting to climb it or to swing with it, but she just slides down it completely. You know, kind of like Matt. You know, maybe she's just so light and dainty and elf-like, Princess Elf-like, that, you know, you know what? It's too bad. But Tori is the slowest for the Champs overall, with 35 seconds. Next is Bananas. He gets 32 seconds. He grabs a yellow card. Good for him. But oh yeah, he fucking falls sideways. The pole doesn't fall forward, saving you a good, I don't know, 8 feet to swim. He falls sideways, so that's annoying. And he's not the best swimmer. Again, 32 seconds. But afterwards, he has a huge say. He, out of revenge in some way, I don't understand how this was just allowed. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, after they win, shocker, the Champs win, the Miz is like, okay, so you guys need some time to deliberate to see who the champ is for this female week. And Bananas, mirroring the previous episode, says, no, we actually don't have, we don't need time. We already figured it out. You know, just verbatim what Emily said. And then he and he alone decides that the MVP for the female week is going to be CT. CT's like, no man, don't get me involved in this shit. But no one really fights it. No one really like, even the Miz was like, well, you would, that makes sense, right? And I'm like, Miz, so you're on Banana's side now? Like, I don't want to see any sort of bias whatsoever from my fucking challenge host. If I wanted to see that, I would watch TJ host, okay? I want something different. So, Miz, if you're going to go that route, bring back, what's his fuck? Oh my god, I can't remember his goddamn name. Dave Mira? No, that's not possible. God damn it. Who's the, fuck. He was an Olympian. He was an Olympian. He rode a snowboard. He hosted a challenge. Oh, it's not coming to me at all. Damn it. And I don't remember the Champs versus Pros guy. He was a wide receiver. He had a name and a number under it. God damn it, I don't remember. Anyways. Bananas gets to decide that, like, hey, CT. So all the females are able to get thrown in. I don't know. I felt like I would have raised a lot more of a stink about it. I was expecting maybe Emily to, but maybe Emily, for some reason, was like, what we did was terrible. Oh my God, And maybe Anissa felt the same way. Tori, like maybe Bananas actually got to him. Remember when Sarah Rice, after Battle of the Exes 2, after all that controversy about like, oh my God, you betrayed your best friend and sent him in elimination, and you never did, this was terrible, and then you got the win. And then during Rivals 3, she was competing with Bananas, and Sarah was like, what I did to you was terrible and horrible. Like, it was, it shouldn't have never happened. It was deplorable. All this stuff. And I was like, no, Sarah, no. What you did was fine. What he did as a response to your great strategy was just guilt trip you like a goddamn Catholic nun, But this Catholic nun does beer bongs and gets paid to go to bars and shit like that. But he was able to make you feel like shit. So I don't know. It was what am I getting at? Bananas had a lot of sway this episode in terms of the MVP. It was nuts. Anyways, yeah, nominate CT. Let's get into Anissa. Anissa is faster than Bananas by 2 seconds. She gets 30 seconds. She doesn't get a flag. I think she just she's like, hey, I know my strengths. I'm just going to swim it. And, does better than Bananas. Bananas. Oh, although he fell to the side. She didn't do it. So, yeah, she did pretty goddamn good, And so I'm sure it's going to be annoying for her to have to go in, I mean, I'm sure she was like, she could have argued, I deserve the MVP over Tori, for sure, right? And then it would have to go between her and Emily. But then Emily might have won it had they decided as a group to do it. So, I don't know. I just felt like, the nomination shit was crazy. But Anissa, she gets mad when CT says, like, hey, man, we're going to put you in, And she's like, why don't you tell me beforehand and stuff? Which, you understand that. You're like, hey, man, don't make this, like, live in front of the TV to make the best reaction possible. Like, tell me to my face so I could, then I can cry and I could, say like, I thought we were friends and shit like that and break down. So by the time you get to nominations on the show, they're like, we're putting you in. And then Anissa could be like, how fucking dare you? You could have told me before, like, I don't know. I just feel like Anissa is just constantly doing this. She's always soaking it up. You understand after a while why Anissa gets cast so often. I mean, no, you don't understand it. You try and find ways to compensate. I guess I don't know. Anissa's around all the time. I am not the biggest Anissa fan. Yet here she is on Champs versus Stars. She's not a champ. She's a two-time finalist. That's all. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, anyways, with all that being said, I just have to remind people that when Matt ties the votes between Kim and Ariane, Anissa's going in anyways, right? Between those two, the champs get a moment to collect, huddle up and say like, okay, what do we want to do? Overall, they were like, Anissa, what do you want to do? And she says that I don't want to lose to Ariane because that would be embarrassing. So now she has Justina, Kim, and Michelle. And they say, like, what do you want to do? If we were to... Oh, wait, CT says, what if we just go with someone who's not even nominated right now? That would shake things up, okay? And again, Anissa should know right now it's strength. The theme is strength. And she decides to choose Michelle Waterson, a UFC fighter. I would never do anything in terms of strength with a UFC fighter. They have to be in ridiculous shape. Ridiculous shape. You would have to be like CrossFit shape to be pretty close to what they have to do. Yeah, I'm willing to say that. I'm willing to throw that out there. But let's get into the actual elimination with Anissa, where she puts up a pretty good fight. I mean, she has some good ideas. She has some good reflexes, I suppose. I don't know. I just remember she being the bigger person. Like, she is definitely taller and heavier than Michelle Waterson. Michelle Waterson, who, when she competes, she's 115 pounds. And I think she's 5'3". Yeah. I think Michelle Waterson's 5'3". And Anissa, she's taller. I don't know. I want to say 5'8", and then just not 115 pounds. I don't know what you want me to say. But, and again, Anissa has a really good record in the elimination. So it's not like I was like, oh, it's all fucking over with and it's done and like, ha ha ha, Anissa and shit like that. I was like, no, I want to see this. I want to see what fucking happens. And Anissa like presses Michelle Waterson against the cage in a clinch. And I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. Like, that is exactly what you would do in the UFC. Shit like that. But then what does she do? She's able to rip it out of Michelle's arms. She's able to lie on top of it. But once she's on there, she doesn't move. Michelle Waterson mounts her from behind, and she's kind of like, reaching in and stuff like that. But in the end, she's kind of just pressing her body. So she's kind of, what would she say? I'm going to deflate Anissa. And these are techniques where, like, Michelle, she knows how to react and counter and stuff your attack. So right now, like, I'm not worried for her at all. The whistle is blown. They're like, oh, we got to reset because they were just kind of on the ground for a while. And, oh my God, it gets a little bit better. What do I have written down here? Oh shit, the ankle lock. Anissa fucking locks onto Michelle's ankle. This is UFC shit. Like, I'm so glad that this, not only was it catered towards Michelle, but it's not like Anissa was clueless about what was going on, And she rose up to the occasion. Oh my God, I feel like maybe right now, upon saying it out loud, I have some sort of a little bit more respect for Anissa this episode, Like, good on her. Assuming she knew what was going on going into it. I mean, the possibility of them going like, holy shit, we have a UFC, like the producers, we have a fucking UFC fighter, and we could do something like in a cage in a fight. Are you kidding me? And against Anissa, who's a bigger person, like this is what the UFC would call a super fight, man. Yeah, catch weight, if you will. But Michelle. Oh my God, she slips out of her shoes. It was a, it was fucking amazing. They were like just on the ground, like she just kind of literally leaped out of her shoes. But to get out of that ankle lock, she got out of her shoes. She climbed up. She had the rope. She climbed up the fence. Anissa grabbed her once more, but Michelle's able to, be slippery and shit, and gets out of the grip, wins the thing, and yeah, I think I like Anissa a little bit more. I'm not saying cast her in the next season at all. That's not what I'm saying. I think I'm saying, hey, good on you, upon looking back. Yeah. Next, we have CT and Emily tying in 28 seconds each. I think for both reasons. I think they both just kind of leapt on the pole and that brought them down, and then they swam. Maybe Emily tried. I know CT didn't seem to try really. He just kind of leapt onto the pole and swam from there. But they tied 28 seconds each. CT gets MVP this week. At first, he's like, "No, look, this is gonna be like Bananas and Wes episode 2 rivalry in this thing. Like, I don't want to be part of that shit." But he's like, "No, I'll take it." I don't remember his charity at all. Something about like the youth and like finding opportunities in the entertainment field and media field and shit like that. I mean, I don't think I've been mentioning any of these charities this season, at least in the coverage, and I probably should, because I'm like, yeah, good on you and stuff like that. I don't know. I've been podcasting so differently lately, but yeah, there was CT and there was Emily. Emily, I just figured you would be more mad about Bananas nominating CT over any of you women, but again, guilt tripped, Next is Zach with 25 seconds. He grabbed the yellow card, or the yellow, god damn it, the yellow flag. That was 3 seconds off his time. So yes, that means 28 seconds originally, but yeah, docked the 3 seconds, and yeah, he's the second fastest champ. And then finally we have Wes. He has 23 seconds. He grabbed a yellow card as well. And he's usually, Wes is like always very proud of his swimming abilities. Like apparently he's like a champion, like state champ. I don't know, something like that. I just remember him talking about like his swimming skills. But yeah, he's the fastest champion. Overall, they all have 3 minutes and 19 seconds. That, of course, topped 3 minutes and 29 seconds provided by the Stars team. And that is it. That was the episode. Everyone did a great job. The best thing that Michelle said, I mean, one of the coolest things, I guess, was when she was like, there's going to be a purge and it's going to blow. I'm like, oh my God, Michelle, it is going to blow. And I hate the purge. I really do. If the purge exists, if it has to be done once. Because remember how many do we have like 3 purges in the Dirty 30? Like there was a lot. Like far too many. But what they did right at first was having that purge at the very beginning. If it has to be done anywhere, it should be done earlier than later. Because by the time you weed out the weaker players, you have the better, like the cream of the crop in terms of the casting. And like competitively and like, personality wise and shit, to have a purge at the very end. And that's what they did at, Invasion of the Champions. And that's what they did at Champs versus Pros. Both times was a waste of talent, especially in the Champs versus Pros. I wanted to see Lolo Jones in the goddamn final. I wanted to see so many other fucking, but like CT in the final. There was so much loss. It's just so unnecessary. I hate it so much. But I think that's the next episode. I think it's called like rinse, purge, repeat, something like that. And I'm like, oh god, this is just terrible. It's gonna. But I should look back at more fonder episodes and not shudder towards the future. So yeah, that was Battle of the Challenges podcast. Like, subscribe, comment, and this was Vincent Cloud.